Good morning, gamers. It's me, T1 Muir. It's been a while. You know, one thing I never done is I never made any sequels for any of my games. And I have a feeling that's going to change today. Sequels are weird. On one hand, you already made the first game, so you have no doubts about being able to make another. And you know exactly what to improve on to make it much better. But on the other hand, honing existing ideas instead of trying new ones can often feel like a waste of time. At least for me personally. I did try to make a sequel for a couple of my games in the past, but they were always either too ambitious, so I never finished them, or too similar to the original, so I never cared to finish them. Time to fix that. And I have endless ideas for remakes and sequels of all of my games, but only the best deserve my time. Stoic Square got played 72 times, and the video about it got 600 views. So that's about 10% of people who watched the video played the game, which might not sound like much, but to me it's a great success. And I feel like the simplest game I ever made deserves the simplest sequel I'll ever make. Well, we have the core idea, but what actually comes into making a good sequel? Sun Tzu said, "A good sequel expands the universe, continues the story, introduces new themes, and leaves impact on the franchise." Let's go over these points one by one. By the way, spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played the first game, I highly recommend to do that to better understand what I'm talking about. Come on, don't be lazy. The game is just fucking 2 minutes long, alright? Let's go. Stoic Square is a very ambiguous game. There's just a few elements in play, but even simple additions like changing the color of the background can completely change the feel of an area. I'm planning to give each part of the game a more distinct mood and personality, making the game's world much more interesting. Stoic Square story-wise was very simple, yet intriguing, hopefully. At least this guy gets it. The story of the second game can go in many directions, though I still want to keep the limitation of using only squares to tell it. The main narrative theme of the game was loneliness, and while I plan on expanding on it, I will also double with introducing other associated themes like sanity and fear and all of that stuff. As well, I plan to add a couple more twists on the main gameplay, making the game a bit more than a 2D walking simulator. This one can only really be judged after the game has been out for a while, but hopefully the second game fits good with the first one, making the overall experience pretty good. Lots of games, including Stoic Square, didn't ever really need a sequel, but often these unneeded sequels become some of my favorite games of all time, so I'm going for a Portal 2 on this one. And now that we have a plan, the last question to answer is, what should we call the game? I called the original game Stoic Square. The square part of it is obvious, and the Stoic came from the main character's inability to express emotions, because he's a blank square. I don't want to call the new game Stoic Square or Square Square or Square whatever, but you know, I have an idea. There's one school of thought, one philosophy that is different from Stoicism, but gets misunderstood nearly as much. I'll call the game Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week if I make it.